All right, so welcome everybody to this new moon meditation, activation and information. And today we work with the full moon in Capricorn. First of all, we're very close to the solstice. So I think it's very appropriate to wish you all a very happy solstice. The solstice was exactly yesterday evening. So this is the moment where the sun seems to be, let's say, standing still, as in coming out at the horizon from the same place. I mean, obviously the sun is not standing still, but it's going to look like this for today and tomorrow. And then on Sunday, it's going to go back and take back its course in the sky. So it's a very important moment in the year, as much as the equinoxes, there are 4 important moments in the sun cycle, and this is one of them. And we're experiencing the longest days in the northern hemisphere and longest night in the southern hemisphere. We also happen to be in a very, very special moment in the moon cycle, a moment that is called the major lunar standstill, or Lunistice. So this is when the moon reaches its maximum declination seen from the Earth. Declination means how high it is above the horizon, which makes it be visible in the sky for us for the longest time. And this happens every 18.5 years. So it's a very important event. And interestingly enough, and it doesn't usually happen at the same time as the solstice, but interestingly enough, this year it's happening at the same time as the solstice. The last one happened in 2006. And it's very interesting to know that it is believed, and there are many archaeologists and archaeoastrologers that are looking at megalithic sites at the moment to try and understand whether they believe they were aligned to the moon some way, or in a way or another. And they're doing some research during this period to understand whether the stone circles like Stonehenge and others were also aligned with some phases or some cycles of the moon. So it's a very interesting resonance that we have here between the sun and the moon. And it's really amplifying this moon, and the moon is amplifying the sun. But for sure, for this moon, we're absolutely under the influence of the solstice, which makes it really, really more powerful. So let's take a look at this full moon. It is happening at 1°07 of Capricorn, and it's going to be exact at 2 a.m., 7 minutes past 2 a.m. Here in Casablanca, Morocco, and so in a few hours, and 1:07 a.m. Universal Time. It's going to be a little later in the Americas, a few hours later in the Americas. Something else that is worth noting, because it means that this moon has 2 levels that we're going to be working with. There will be another full moon in Capricorn on the 21st of July, in a month from now, which will be very, very powerful, because it will be conjunct Pluto, and it will happen in the last degree of Capricorn, which is a very important degree, because it's the, let's say, the last degree of any sign is a very exacerbated energy. So it will be activating a lot of change and a lot of, let's say, renovation of old structures. So we'll have another chance to work with this energy, although at a different frequency for sure. In the meantime, let's look at this full moon and take it one step at a time, because that's the mood for the energies that we've been receiving for the first half of the year. So let's go back to a few basic things. Remember, full moon is when the sun and the moon are opposite each other in the sky. It is a culmination of a cycle. It is the last point of ascension before a cycle starts to decline. So as you can see, we're experiencing like this at least 2, if not 3 levels for the moon as a full moon, the sun, the cycle of the sun, and also the Lunistice, which is another peak in the cycle, in the larger cycle of the moon. It is a moment of heightened emotion, like all full moons, and probably amplified once again because of everything that I said. So in essence, the energy that we are presented with is the energy of preparing ourselves to enter into the descending cycle, to shed what we no longer need, to prepare for the integration of everything that we've experienced so far, and to enter, and that's the integration part will happen for the sun cycle at the equinox in 3 months from now, and the next quarter moon for the moon cycle, which is a week from now. So we're entering a phase where at different frequencies or at different rhythms or at different paces, which translate into different aspects of our lives, shorter term and longer term, we prepare to enter an integration phase, something that will make us reflect on what we've experienced over the past 2 weeks or over the past month, but also over the past 3 to 6 months, i.e. the last 2 cycles of the sun. I hope you're following me. I'm talking about the last equinox in March and the last solstice in December. So in the next couple of weeks, I would recommend to, think, feel, become aware of what you need to let go of so that you move on sincerely and trusting that you will be safe shedding those things, just going into a process of moving on and creating something new, entering a new space, a new aspect of your path, which will happen with the new moon, which is how the moon cycles work. And I want to say also that the moon cycles happen every month. So every month we have the opportunity to open a new aspect of our path, to open a new door, and to shed things and to move on, etc. And it is really like personal hygiene. It's like brushing your teeth. It's like washing your body. It's like, I don't know, everything that we do that seems super normal on a daily cycle. This is just another cycle that's a little bit bigger, and that enters into a bigger cycle, which is the cycle of the sun, that happens into bigger cycles, etc., fractalizing the cycles of nature. And I think perhaps our cultures, or at least the Western cultures, the Western cultures, we have neglected the moon cycles. But at least for those of you who have been with me for the past year and a half, or with anyone else following the phases of the moon, I think it's probably time now to make it even more, let's say, present in our daily lives. As in to go beyond the actual meditations for the full moon and the new moon, and perhaps start working in between. I will, from my part, I will see how I can help you work with that so that it becomes something more present and that we can align more with the lunar cycles and the cycles of nature. That was a parenthesis, but I thought it was important to share here because I think it's going to be something important for the times to come. So let's go back to this full moon and the main protagonists of the moment and of the sky. The sun is in Cancer. It's the archetype of I feel. That's the mantra of Cancer. It's a water sign and is connected to the body aspect of water. The moon is in Capricorn, as I said. Its mantra or archetype is I use. It's an earth sign, and it's the spiritual aspect of earth. And we find ourselves in a very interesting axis that connects our inner world, Cancer, I feel, with the external world, Capricorn, I use. Capricorn is one of the great manifestors in the zodiac. So where Cancer is turned inwards, we have Capricorn that looked outwards. So let's see how we can use this axis and these types of energies for our benefit, for our evolution. The first chapter, let's say, or the first big concept that I want to talk about is the concept of alignment. So let's remember, first of all, that the moon rules Cancer. So where the sun is, the ruler of that sign, Cancer, is the moon, which happens to be in Capricorn. So this presents us with a beautiful opportunity to use our ability to feel, to build our reality. It means by bringing together our internal world, Cancer, and our reality, Capricorn, using our internal compass, Cancer, and our ability to feel to create our external world. And I want to emphasize something. Our education makes it so far, has made it, because now it's changing for sure, has made it like that feeling is perceived as a consequence or as something that is happening to us and that shouldn't be shown and should be hidden and suppressed, not shown to others. It's sometimes seen socially as a weakness. And I want to remind ourselves, me included, that feeling is another source of information, no more, no less. We receive information through our body, through the 5 senses. We receive information through our intellect, our mind, and we receive information through our soul, which is what we feel. And it's really important to remember that whatever we feel, good or bad, something, positive or negative, it's information before anything else. And we can use that to understand our situation, our context, what we're going through, and evolve. For sure, I'm pretty sure that you've heard, I'm not, announcing something new. I'm pretty sure you have heard that before. But I think it's really important to remind us of that, especially in this time where there's a lot of change that we are going through. And it's important to remember that emotions we are feeling, it's important to let them happen, to let them through, and use them as information. So, in fact, what that tells us is that aligning our reality to what we feel is not something optional. It's not something that we can skip. It's an essential part of our being that is giving us information. And it's essential for our consciousness, for the development of our consciousness, for our evolution. And it means trusting fully our inner compass. That's the deep meaning of aligning what we feel with our reality, is that trust that we place in the information that we perceive, just us, that is unique to us, because we receive it through our own frequency, through our own prism, through our own, collection of atoms, if you want. And it's really important in the times we're living through to allow ourselves to feel and to trust completely that inner compass, because at the end of the day, only me can make sense of my reality. Only you can make sense of your reality. Yes, sometimes I can help you have a new perspective or change point of view, for sure. But at the end of the day, every one of us hold their own compass. And it's super important to allow ourselves to feel what we feel, to not judge it, and to welcome that information as nourishment for our path, really. So that's the first, let's say, important idea, and that's one of the ways to use that axis. The second one is really about coherence in action. Let's take a look around what's happening around the sun in Cancer. So the sun is conjunct Venus and Mercury, and that reminds us to pay attention to what we value, to our desire, to our deep calling, to what we like. And also it points us to our own value. Mercury, close to the sun, is helping us think, analyze, put order, organize, get new ideas based on what we like and what we feel, so that we can put them into practice on the opposite side of the zodiac into Capricorn. Mars, to help with all of that, action, will, is connecting to both luminaries. It's connecting both to the sun and to the moon in a positive way, which is giving us the drive, the strength to act, to move forward, to act on our desires, to implement the ideas and all the work that we do in aligning to kind of put it into practice. So we really have like, you know, a lot of help and strong support to do what we need to do at this moment. And the third thing, which is very, very important, and it's not the first time that I speak about this, the third, let's say, key idea or key concept or key information from the energies at the moment is to listen carefully. We have a major aspect with Neptune, which is at the last degree of Pisces. Neptune is forming a T-square with the moon and the sun, so it's connecting with both. Neptune, what it's bringing to this moon is extreme sensitivity. So not only it's allowing us to feel more intensely, but also it helps us connect to finer levels of reality and energy, more subtle realms. But it's important to be very careful because it also brings a tendency to illusion, to escapism, and to disconnection from reality. And that's not what we want. This is a moment to align earth and sky, the reality and our inner compass. And to help us with that, to not fall into the illusion or the escapism, we have Saturn in Pisces too, sign of connection to the divine or to more subtle energies. Saturn, ruler of Capricorn, that is connecting to Mercury, which help us keep everything in check and help us through change. Because Saturn is also connecting with Uranus. That's the bringer of change. So that helps us be discerning. So when I say listen, but be careful, how do we do that? You know, how do we not fall into escapism or illusion or dreaminess? Well, let's look at what's happening, what else is happening in the sky and see if we have more help. And it looks like when we look at higher octaves of these energies, we have tremendous and beautiful help to help us stay aligned, listen, discern, connect. And, you know, I like to work with fixed stars, and we have 3 fixed stars that are perfectly aligned and arranged in the sky to connect completely with the sun, the moon, and Neptune. So let's start with the moon. Above the moon, we have the fixed star called Spiculum. Remember, fixed stars are bearers of extremely fine energies, very powerful. They only work in close connection to other planets. So it's really like laser-like type of energy. So Spiculum is connected to the third eye and the attribute of discernment, which is wonderful to help us keep things, in balance between subtle perceptions and disconnection from reality. What's more, Spiculum invites us to connect with the elementals, to Earth and the elementals on Earth, which is beautiful because at the same time it helps us, open the third eye, so to see beyond the visible, but at the same time really ground us through connection to subtle realms as well, because the elementals, you can collect to the elements for sure, and go to nature and even connect to the beings that populate these elements that we call the elementals. So that's one, very beautiful help that we're getting from Spiculum. Above the sun, we have another fixed star, which is called Menkalinum, sorry. So interestingly enough, this star asks us to work on our emotions and to connect to our inner guidance. This star appears when it's time for matter to come to life, guided by the spirit, which is exactly what we're talking about here. So she invites us to work on our emotions and to enter into inner silence to find our own guidance, to find our own voice, to find our inner compass. So again, it's beautiful, so welcome, high vibrational help for this moment. And opposing Neptune and completing the square with the sun and the moon, we have the fixed star called Markeb, the boat. It's part of the Argo-Navis constellation. And this one helps us connect to the invisible through dreams, astral travel, but also through meditation. So, as you can see, all these energies are pointing us towards our inner guidance, towards controlling our emotions, the I feel aspect of things, towards connecting with Earth and being really in axis between how we feel and our reality. It's pointing us to alignment, to coherence, so that we can really recognize our inner voice and act on it. And that's a very, very important leg in this configuration, the action part of it. So really, this moon, which is a moonstice, it's a sun-moonstice, however we want to call it, because the energies are so blended together. It's almost like, they're amplifying each other. So we have a strong energy from the moon and a strong energy from the sun, and that enters into resonance and it's super amplified. And it's really time for us to listen to our own voice and to really sing the song of our soul, for sure. That's about it for me. And I think that's quite some information already. So let's ask the oracle. Let's see what else we need to know for this particular moment. And which of the peoples of the earth want to tell us something? Okay, here we are. Wow. Okay, we have the ancient Lemurians that speak to us about energy. And this is what it looks like. And let me see what's the message behind that. They start very strong. They say, you need to improve your capacities of expression. And then they go like this. During our time on the surface of Earth, but also today within, we communicate essentially through vibration and telepathy. This in the aim of preserving our energy and not waste it in exchanges that only go one way. I think someone has their mic open. Can you please close your mic? Thank you. Zoe, I think Zoe has her mic open. Thanks for closing it. So let me continue. If we speak to you today, it's to remind you of the importance to preserve your energy and direct it towards exchanges that go both ways, that will allow you to recuperate the energy that you are spending. When you give your energy, your time, and your words to beings or activities that empty you from your luminous power, you expose yourself carelessly to a lowering of your vibration that can lead to states of being and physical states that are painful. Look after yourself. Direct your energies with consciousness towards what nourishes you back. The ascensional key is the source of energy that you are carrying is precious and needs to find a resonance when you use it. I think it's beautiful. I'll show you the card again. It shows two whales seem to be dancing in a constellation. All right. I mean, from my side, I'm really amazed by what is happening between the moon and the sun, that both of them at the same time are reaching a peak. I mean, imagine like, you know how when two people sing the same note, it feels like there's more people singing. It feels like the vibration is bigger. This is what's happening with this moon and the solstice. It's almost like we're in, I think stereo is not big enough. It's like multi-surround sound or multi-surround vibration that, there's a thing in physics that for every bridge has a vibration. So if you walk on that bridge at the frequency of that bridge, just by walking, you can break it. That's wow. The resonance. Because you find the right frequency, then the bridge starts moving with movements that are expanding more and more until the materials just break because they can't sustain the amplitude of the frequency. And this is how this moment feels, because both moon and sun are reaching a peak at the same time. And also the fact that we have another moon in Capricorn in a very, very sensitive spot of the zodiac, then we'll see. I think the next month is going to be very interesting between this full moon and the next full moon, because it gives us an opportunity to revise again the concept of the full moon being in Capricorn, but from a different perspective, because we are at the end, and the last degree of Capricorn is where all the structures need to go. And it will be, yeah, and it will be conjunct Pluto. So yeah, I would recommend to be very diligent between now and the next moon into, you know, doing the work of, you know, working on what we need to let go of, thinking of where we want to go. Especially, it is really a great time. And I've said that to my patients already. It's really a great time to revise the intentions you seeded in January or for the solstice. It's more than any other time, more than last year or the previous years. This time, it's a good moment to revise that. And you will be surprised how much you've achieved too. So the combination of a cycle is good because it tells us about what's coming up. What's coming up is we're going to go down and go towards integration and transcendence until we get born again. But it's also the moment where we reap the fruits of everything we did. So, you know, it's also a moment of enjoyment. That's why summer, we celebrate fire, we celebrate nature, we dance, and, you know, the solstice is the moment of externalization and laughter and joy. So it's important also to take that time to recognize what we've done in the previous cycle. It's very important. It's not just grinding and working and crying and meditating. You know, there's some moments of recognizing the fruits of our efforts, because we all are making a lot of efforts and doing a lot of work. So, shall we move to the meditation? All right. Let me share the music. And you should be hearing it very small and growing. Can you hear it? Okay, thank you, Marcel. That means yes, I guess. All right. Let's start by finding a good position. And we're going to start by massaging our body. Gently and softly, start massaging your body from your feet, giving a lovely and a loving touch to every part of your body. Take the time to be really focused and place your entire attention into that touch. We are really seeking a connection with the body today. Go over your legs, your knees, your thighs, your hips, your genitals. Massage, caress your back, your belly, your chest. It can be massages or pressures by pressing on the body or simply caressing, whichever feels best for you. Always with love, compassion, by doing that, we're informing the body that we're going to be working with our eyes closed, with our energy, that everything is going to be fine, and that we're working for its highest good. Your face, your head, your hair, and then when you're done, find a comfortable position to sit and check your posture. Your spine is elongated, your chin is parallel to the ground, eyes closed, legs crossed, or if you're sitting on a chair, feet flat on the ground. My arms are extended or on my lap, completely relaxed. We're going to take a couple of deep breaths. Inhale. Hold your breath for a second. And exhale deeply. We do that a few more times. And with each exhale, release any tension, any thoughts, any excess of energy. One more time. Deep breath in through the nose. I hold my breath. And I exhale deeply through the mouth. One last time. And at the exhale, I empty my lungs completely. And I release, coming back to a soft, natural breath. Perhaps I can make the exhale slightly longer than the inhale, but without forcing, without pushing, just very gently. And I place my entire attention on my breath, becoming aware that with each inhale, I increase my awareness, my presence, my mind is more alert, and with the exhale, my body relaxes a little bit more. And with the use of my breath, I set the intention to bring coherence to my being, passing through my entire body, chakra by chakra. I recognize that in my being I find the echo of the cycles of the universe, from the largest to the smallest cycle, and that I can listen to them and tune in by listening to my own body. I set the intention to listen without judgment and to be in full compassion with myself, accepting to feel what is there to be felt, holding space for myself, and being grateful for this moment of deep connection within and inner guidance. I put my hands in a cup in front of me, ready to receive the information from my being, and I connect with my ankles. I ask myself, how do I feel about my destiny so far, my path, my current objectives? Do I feel I am a master of my path? Do I have control over my objectives? I stay very centered in my breath, and I listen to the information that comes in the form of thoughts, emotions, perhaps sensations in my body. I connect to my knees, and I ask myself, how do I feel about change? Am I stuck in my ways, or do I allow myself to be flexible? And I listen once again. And I connect to my root. How do I feel about my current reality? Am I creating it? Is there something I would like to change? What is it? And I listen. And I connect to my sacral chakra. And I ask myself, how do I feel about the way I nourish and nurture myself? The food I absorb, the information I ingest, the people I spend time with. Where do I find the energy to move forward on my path? Am I nourishing myself, or am I poisoning myself? And I listen, welcoming the thoughts, the emotions, and the sensations that run through my body. And I connect to my plexus. and ask myself, how do I feel about my physical needs? Do I fulfill the needs of my body? Am I listening to my body? Or am I following my mind? And I listen, welcoming the information from my inner voice. And I connect to my heart. And I ask myself, how do I feel about giving and receiving? Do I balance what I give and what I receive? How am I with others? Do I contract and suppress myself in the presence of others? Or do I take too much space, invading the space of others? And I connect to the throat. And I ask myself, how do I feel about changing my perspective? Do I accept other points of view? Do I accept to learn new things that are different from what I know? And I listen. And I move on to the third eye. And I ask myself, how do I feel about my spiritual state and spiritual path? Am I awake or am I asleep? In my day-to-day, do I have control over my sleeping habits? Do I feel best during the night or during the day? And I listen. And I connect to my crown. And I ask myself, how do I feel about my knees? Do I really have control over them? Or are they controlling me? Am I able to direct my energy towards my purpose? Or am I wasting it? And I listen. And I connect with my throat. And I ask myself, do I allow myself to open to all possibilities? And I take a moment to feel how my being responds to the possibility of change. Do I open to change or do I resist it? And I listen. I take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And I recognize how I feel without judgment, understanding that I am on a path and that each step is an opportunity to confirm or change any aspect of myself, to reinforce the previous step or to change course. I recognize that allowing myself to feel is opening new information for me to nourish my path towards my own evolution, bringing coherence and balance to my growth and allowing me to create my own reality from a place of consciousness. I take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And I bring those feelings to my heart with the intention to balance them and calibrate them into coherence between what I think, what I feel, what I do. And I resonate with a vowel A or a nasal sound. I feel, I use, I am. Slowly, I come back here and now. Start moving my body if I feel the need to. Stretching. And when I'm ready, I can open my eyes. Thank you very much for being here once again. I wish you a wonderful solstice, a wonderful full moon, and we meet at the next new moon in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.